Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in the world. Talent Finders would like to welcome deliverability specialist and CRO thought leader Yanna Torry Aspraki. Welcome, Yanna. Nice to have you.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
So, Yanna, I'd like to congratulate you on all your achievements. Can you please share with us how your journey and career started and what led you into your current role?
Of course, a long time ago, almost a decade ago, I had started a full-fledged agency. So from website, design, to print, and in order to ensure that the business can grow, I decided to supplement it with extra income. So as I was an engineer, I decided to go work for an IT company. And unfortunately, I fell in love with one of the jobs that was there. There was somebody at this company from Montreal called CakeMail, a nice email marketing software provider, and this amazing job opportunity appeared. There was this man called Kevin Huxham. He's the head of deliverability over there, and he had the most interesting job, and it piqued my interest so much that I decided to pivot the agency, focus only on email deliverability, and I learned everything from there. Actually, it was a great opportunity, and it was just serendipity at that point.
Yeah, that's amazing. You're very specialized in a unique space. So, for those who don't know what a deliverability specialist and CRO or thought leader means, can you please share with the audience more about that and more about what you do in terms of your role?
Course. So when it comes to email and email marketing, businesses always have this assumption that, the most important part, of course, is having as many subscribers as possible. So you can send as many emails as possible to as many people as possible. And they assume that using all these tools like CakeMail or MailChimp and so on, that they're doing all the heavy lifting, of course, by ensuring that emails not only get sent out, but they're always going to land in the inbox. And unfortunately, that is a misconception.
Yes.
The job of these companies are to send emails. They cannot force Gmail and Microsoft Office or Hotmail to accept an email and also show it in the inbox or any of the other tabs there. So my job, I focus on what happens after an email is sent and ensuring that the emails actually land in the inbox or any of the other tabs that people may have in their inboxes if they have those set and turned on. So we're trying to avoid the spam folder, and we're also trying to avoid, of course, all these inboxes from accepting the email, but then actually not showing it at all, not even in the spam folder.
Wow.
Unfortunately, for most people, people contact me after they realize there's problems. They usually send maybe a small decline or then a really big decline. And then they realize that a lot of their customers that may have wanted the emails or might be new on their list are not receiving emails anymore. It's always a panic mode. So my goal is to go around and help people understand that unfortunately pretty templates and beautiful marketing that converts is great, but first we need to make sure people get the message in their inbox.
Yeah, absolutely. So, where did your slogan, saving the world one email at a time, come from?
When I was working at CakeMail, I love to get on the phone actually and talk to the customers because sometimes you get support tickets and you want to answer back and you let them know these things. And what I'm telling them are the opposite of what they usually can find on Google as how tos or tasks or ways to fix things. So getting on the phone and being able to talk or on a video call, people to talk to people to help them really made a difference. And people started implementing the strategies and the concepts that fall behind email into their day-to-day decision making, which allowed their emails to outperform any years before and things like that. Because step one, let's get the email first, and then when we know people are getting the email, then we can really trust our statistics and continue to optimize. So when I started talking to people, I can talk about email for a very, very long time.
Yes.
And people were always very grateful that I was sharing information. I think this is information that people should know about. Most businesses are using email in order to communicate with their customers, engage, and convert them. That is one of the best ways to convert people. But emails aren't landing in the inbox or they're making decisions based on what we think email is all about. Then, it's going to simple. There's a lot out there. So that's where the slogan came from. I'm like, if I can help from the smaller senders all the way to big senders, it's going to make email a lot more interesting because I'll be honest, we don't all enjoy opening our inboxes in the morning with 10,000 emails.
Yeah, I
Right?
mean, I get it as well, and I get so much spam and things that I didn't even subscribe to, or it just drives me mad. And you can,
Exactly.
unsubscribe, but I mean, they just seem to keep sending the stuff.
Exactly. And the main problem here is that we keep thinking that, because I may have given permission or I business thinks that somebody might be interested in your business, Google and Hotmail and all these inboxes aren't obligated to love your business enough to show the emails, store them somewhere for an infinite amount of time. Their customers are the people that are using the inboxes. So me and you in our inboxes, we're the customer, Google and Microsoft and all these things. So the businesses have to follow certain rules and sending more or purchasing less. At the end of the day, all these spam filters are way smarter than we can ever be, and they make a lot of decisions. And at the end of the day, it's a machine, right? It's not a human that says, "Oh, this is a reputable business." Being a reputable business does not mean that you can send me 100 emails a day. And we have no idea, even though we're still annoyed, people don't grasp the amount of the emails that we're still not actually getting, that we're being protected from in our inboxes. And as the years progress, it's getting harder and harder, which is making it a lot more difficult for smaller businesses, like people who are starting new businesses or people who are starting to get into emails or they're starting to have those lists that, for them feel at a comfortable level, a couple thousand email addresses. And then they realize that, oh, my email marketing doesn't work. So maybe email marketing doesn't work. And they don't realize that there's so much going on behind that it's not that email marketing might not work in the business or the industry, it's that slowly over time, they've ruined their own reputation with the mailboxes and the mailboxes just not accepting their emails anymore.
Yeah, it's quite hectic. So your mission is to democratize and level the playing field for email. So can you share with us more about this?
Of course, definitely. So on my end, there's not a lot of people who do what I do. It isn't something you can go to school for. It isn't something you learn by doing. You learn by being surrounded by other livability specialists or email specialists. And there's so many types of email specialists. I could go on and on about how
Yes.
niche email can be for a lot of aspects from it. But when it comes to deliverability, the biggest problem out there is that people assume they know how it works. They've all been doing it. We've all been doing it for years and years and years. Email marketing is not something completely new, right? And the main problem there, and now I can explain it with a very simple example, the world stops turning the moment Instagram or Facebook or Google Ads changes their algorithm. Everybody who's, using those mediums are going to hit the internet and they're going to figure out exactly what they need to do. There was like post 3 times a day, post consistently, use hashtags, don't use hashtags, use 30 of them, use less than 30, right? There's all these rules that pop up and it goes in people's radars and it's super important. And when it comes to email, we're just like, I have a pretty template. I have people I can send my email to and I can press send. I don't need to do anything else. And unfortunately, there is so much going on. The spam filters are being updated on a daily basis. They're evolving. They're getting smarter. Different inbox providers work differently. Like Instagram doesn't work the same way as LinkedIn. It might be social media. We might be posting images with captions. They don't work the same way. Same thing with email. So Microsoft spam filter doesn't work the same as Google spam filter. So if people are just, focusing on the content, focusing on the marketing and growing their list, but have no idea or any concept whatsoever about what is happening after they press send, they might, be shooting themselves in the foot without even realizing it. Because on the logical aspect, the more people you have on your list, the more chances you get to market and convert. The more you send, the more chances again. Maybe prettier templates, or we think that that's what people want. And at the end of the day, we don't really care about pretty templates. We care about value. We
Yeah,
want to make sure that they,
exactly. Exactly. You can sugarcoat anything, but at the end of the day, it's like you say, it's all about bringing value. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
and that's what the inboxes want, right? That's what the inboxes want. And if they see that you have 30,000 people or 2,000 people on your list, and the same 5 people care, you're telling the computers, the spam filters, that only these 5 people want it. So why would they accept the email to the other 90, 95 people left on your list? They're going to realize over time that there's certain people that just don't care about it, and they will stop allowing those emails in. The
Mm.
unfortunate part, of course, is that bigger businesses have the budgets and have the people that they could hire, like me, internally, externally as consultants. And the moment that they're going to do something crazy that is not going to be good, we're there to stop them, or we're going to help them, fine tune it so we can maximize the amount of emails we can send and be as annoying as possible. But smaller businesses don't have that. They don't have the budget. They don't even have it's not even in the purview, right? That there's something to know. So they're sending emails. They see, like, some people are opening. They don't understand how email metrics work. They're not very precise metrics because of the way the technology works. So they're looking at this information. They're like, well, everything looks good. I mean, I might not be making money, but people are opening the emails, and unfortunately, spam filters open emails. So we don't know if it's a human or the machine opening the email. which can
Yes.
skew. So if you're making marketing strategies based on statistics that you don't actually understand how they work, you might be making the wrong decisions. And over time, that just creates a bigger problem because you're not sending to people what they actually want and you don't even know. And
Yes.
there's a divide. And as things get more complicated, as the spam filters become even smarter and quicker in making decisions, there's going to be a big divide between the businesses that can hire the expertise or get the knowledge and spend time on it, and the people who, email is a part of their business, but they have a business around them. So my goal is to make sure that everybody is aware of it, because if people know how many hashtags they can use on Instagram, they can definitely understand how email works so they can make better decisions.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that, what would you say some of your biggest lessons and learnings have been within your career? And maybe you've had multiple, but is there something specifically that would stand out for you?
Um, I think the most common issue, or the thing that not only I needed to learn when I started this, but everybody should understand as well, is that we, as a sender, as a business sending emails, we aren't Gmail and Hotmails and Yahoo's customer. The people using the
Yes.
inbox, the subscribers are the customer. So if we think, clickbaity tactics in email, fake subject lines or tricks to stay out of the promotions folder, to get in the inbox or things like that are going to help us convert and engage with customers, we're totally in the wrong. We
Yes.
cannot wake up in the morning annoyed in our inboxes about all the companies that are sending us all these emails we don't care about. And then we go to work and we decide to do the exact same thing. The mailbox providers are trying to stop it from happening so that we're not annoyed. If Google allowed every spam email to go into the inbox, and like real, and a side note, the definition of spam is unsolicited or unwanted email. So I might have given you my email, but if you start annoying me, it's considered spam, even though you're not, a Nigerian prince trying to give you millions of dollars, right? So if we want to make sure our emails are not considered unwanted or unsolicited by the machines, the spam filters, we need to stop trying to trick machines. They're getting faster. They are faster. They are smarter. They know exactly what we're doing. Changing domains is not going to help. Changing templates is not going to help. Purchasing more lists is not going to help. We need to be honest with ourselves. And the
Yes.
biggest issue I have when I'm talking to customers, or the thing that everybody needs to learn and understand, and me too, because at the beginning I didn't know how it worked,
Yes.
it was just be logical. At the end of the day, these machines that are, creating the problem that everybody's complaining about are actually trying to protect us all, make the internet a safer place, make our inboxes a safer place. Where it all hell says loose because a company with, I don't know how, figured out my cell phone number. Same thing with email. It's a private space. I give you my personal information so you can send me things. Don't abuse that power. And
Yeah,
that's the first thing
exactly.
people need to understand. That's it. That's the
Yes.
only thing. If people can understand that, they're going to make so many less mistakes. They're going to shoot themselves a lot less in their own foot. And I know it sounds very basic, but every marketing tactic that created a deliverability problem where customers came to me, and this is like 99.999 cases, and the other is 0.1 is 0.001 is always somebody else abusing or spoofing, like abuse being
Yes.
happening and you have to shut it down. All of the other cases are self-created issues. Every single
Yeah.
one of them, there are people who are emailing who are just being annoying. That's it. And I know everybody loves their business and they're, who isn't proud of their own business and their own products and their own marketing. But at the end of the day, just be honest with yourself. Is this extra email really going to help? Does everybody need to get it? It's just as simple as that. It
Yes.
can get technical, of course, but at the end of the day, if you don't make silly mistakes, you're not going to have problems.
Exactly. So that actually leads me into the next question, which is obviously there's many or multiple email platforms out there for emailing. So what makes what you are doing different? And can you give us some examples in such a competitive space?
Of course. So on my end, it doesn't really matter where people are sending their emails from. There's a couple of, logical things where you don't send your, Amazon doesn't send emails from their Google account, right? They actually have an email marketing platform like Mail and MailChimp and all of those. But when it comes to deliverability, what's important, and it works exactly like a credit score that you have with the bank, it all starts with the sender reputation. So the email address or the domain and subdomain that is sending the email. So a lot of people assume that if their emails stop landing in the inbox and they start landing in spam, that the fault goes to the marketing tool that they're using to send the emails. And let's all be honest, these marketing tools have experts like me working there, engineers, IT. We have direct lines of communications, more or less, with Google and Yahoo and Microsoft. When a inbox decides to block an email that is coming from business, they're not blocking MailChimp. They're blocking that sender. So moving around from
Yes.
MailChimp to like MailJet or HubSpot, is not going to help you. It might not trick, Google might say, oh, look, I see these emails are coming from new sets of IPs. We're seeing they're coming from another tool. Let's see if they're doing any better. But if you're not changing anything and you just move the same strategy somewhere else, they're going to start doing the same thing again. And a lot
Yes.
of businesses are losing money moving from one place to the other. And the issue is they need to change. They need to change their
Yes.
strategy. They need to change the way they're communicating with their customers. If your business is 10 years old and somebody gave you their email 10 years ago and hasn't purchased anything, there is a 0% chance they're going to buy something else if they haven't bought anything in 10 years. Let them
Yeah.
go. That's it. If I have a
Yeah.
bunch of people on my Instagram account that don't care about my pictures, Instagram is going to realize, oh, she doesn't have engaging posts. But if I only have people that actually care about what I have to post on Instagram, more people are going to see it because my own followers care about it. I don't
Yes.
understand why it's such a difficult concept to push into email. It's the same thing.
Yes.
So, yeah.
So that actually leads into the next question of bulk or mass emailing, which you've obviously touched on, but it also has its own set of challenges, both legally and running the risk of being flagged as spam, as you mentioned. Is this something that
Yeah.
you can address? And
So
can you tell us more about how you address this?
of course, definitely. So I'm Canadian, Canadian laws in Europe. So we have in Canada, in Europe, in Brazil, there's a lot of countries that have a lot of different laws, not only pertaining to email, but also how we store personal information. And email is considered a personal information. The laws are trying to minimize the amount of abuse that's happening. Big companies purchasing lists or grabbing, your email address from LinkedIn and Facebook and then bombarding you with information. So the spam filters, good for them. They have law backing them up. So it makes it even easier for them to decide to block certain emails because they can easily realize what you're doing. If you're emailing people who don't know you, trust me, the spam filters know. If you're, sharing information with other businesses that should not be getting that information. Not only is it not good from a legal aspect, but so will the spam filters. The spam filters get so much spam in a day. If people Google how many emails are being sent in a day and how many of those are spam, it's a lot easier to compare businesses' emails to spam than regular businesses to, from a good sender to a good sender, because it's like 90% spam based world. So when it comes to the mass mailing tools, most of these companies have an army of people like me working there, ensuring that they're going to be able to keep their infrastructure safe. And if customers who are using these tools realize there's an issue, 9 out of 10 times, it is the sender, it isn't the company. So if you're looking at a legal aspect, I know a lot of companies in Europe need to store information in Europe and need to make sure that it's processed in Europe as well. There's a lot of companies out there that even if they are in Europe or not in Europe, they are GDPR compliant. And the easiest way to see if a company is used correctly is usually to look at their terms of use or their privacy policy. If a
Yes.
company set, yeah, if people don't like their, because everybody looks
No,
at
they
the
don't.
marketing
They
stuff.
don't read
Yeah.
the fine print.
No, they don't read the fine print, but it's like super easy to find because most people are going to focus on, the features, the pricing. But if you want to make sure that a tool is safe, if you go look at the terms of use, they will tell you how easily they can suspend your account. So if there's a company that is very strict in saying, look, if you're abusing your system, you're sending spam, or the inboxes don't like you, they're blocking your emails, you're going to affect other customers. So we give ourselves the right to suspend your account. You have too many bounces, you have too many spam complaints, you have very, very low engagement, you're constantly uploading new lists that doesn't fit with your industry. I mean, how many new email addresses can you possibly get in a day if you're, I don't know, a lawyer, or if you're not doing any speaking engagements? I mean, you must be a really interesting lawyer to be getting tens of thousands of subscribers being uploaded. If they can figure out that you're doing something that's either against the law or is going to impact the health of their ecosystem, they reserve the right to suspend your account and review it with you or force you to remove those, email addresses you bought. And then, of course, they tell you if they're GDPR compliant, just Control F, go to the terms of use and just Control F the word suspend or close account and see how strict they are. If an email marketing tool doesn't have any of these rules, it doesn't mean they don't enforce them. But if you don't have the time to go around asking, the easiest way is that check what they say in the terms of use and you'll see how strict they are. The stricter they are, the better the ecosystem is. So they will not be affecting you. So if you're using that system and you still have problems, you're the problem, not the
Yes.
mass mailing tool.
Exactly. So, what would you say some of your biggest career highlights have been? And maybe you've got multiple, but is there anything that really stands out for you?
Yeah. So a couple of years ago, me and my partners, so everybody knows how Equifax works, right? With the credit score,
Yes.
there's a lot of information that people are not aware they can actually get. So they can get their sender reputation with Google, they can get their sender reputation with Microsoft, they can do inboxing tests, They can monitor if their IPs or their domains are on any block list, which will affect the deliverability of their emails. So we decided to create a tool that would give these people the information they need in order to monitor their reputation. We're a little bit
Yes.
tired, all of us, of getting people coming to us crying and angry that their emails aren't landing in the inbox, because then it's too late, right? You don't
Yes.
figure out what your credit score is the day you go to get a mortgage. You want to make sure you have a good credit score before you go to the bank to ask for a mortgage,
Exactly. It's
right?
common sense,
It
right?
is common sense. So we launched the product a couple of years ago, and we're very happy to be able to give this information at an affordable price. We're not the only ones out there, of course, but because it's so niche, businesses, of course, are trying to maximize the value of it. People don't know about it, they don't have access to it. So it ties into the democratize and simplify. We just want to make it easier for people to make better decisions. Like, I'm annoyed at what's happening in my inbox. Everybody else is as well. Let's give the people who are sending the emails the information they need, because I can complain and tell you that, hey, your emails are not landing in the inbox. But if you have the information coming from Google saying, hey, you don't like your emails, I can't see a business that's not going to change their strategy. Google's telling them their emails are not landing in the inbox at what percentage, or what Google thinks of you or any of the other inboxes. It makes it very easy for the marketers or the engineers who are, trying to do a good job to push their managers or the business to change their practices. So we were
Yes.
very excited to launch this product. People are still very happy using it.
Amazing. Amazing.
So it's been great. It's been a great couple of years.
So now I want to touch on leadership, which is obviously a big topic of late, or should I say lack of leadership, both from a business, entrepreneurial, and global perspective. This is a very big part of what your passion and focus is. So can you share with us what makes your leadership style different, and what do you believe we need to do to change the current narrative? And can you give us any examples?
Course. It ties back into when I was at Cake Mill, and I love educating the senders. The first reasons I was doing this is because people were coming to us with the same questions over and over and over again. And yes, when I started working there, I didn't know a lot about email, but as I understood how it worked and I learned all these things, I realized that this is like very basic information. It costs a lot of money to hire somebody like me as a consultant. And many times the issue is so simple, it's more like arguing with the business that, email has changed in the last 15 years than actually implementing the changes. So on my end, the way I know I got a little bit popular when it comes to email was that people were getting on these introduction calls with me, getting ready to pay for my services. And during that 1 hour, I was talking so much about email. I was sharing so much information with these people because at the end of the day, I didn't want to be doing the same thing over and over again. There's a lot of complex deliverability issues out there. Building a
Yes.
MailChimp or a HubSpot, that is exciting. Telling somebody to send less emails because people are annoyed at them isn't the most exciting part of my
No,
day.
no.
you know, and when it comes to deliverability, of course, on the Gmail side, they have so many secrets. How their spam filter exactly works, changes every day. Everything's secretive because if it wasn't a secret, people would find ways around it, right? There is
Yes.
a big portion of my job that is very secretive. We cannot share information, but all the issues that people have are so basic. So I talk a lot about email. Unfortunately, if you Google my name, you don't find anything personal. All you see is me talking about email. And the fact that I didn't think there was any competition, I mean, first of all, there's not a lot of people who know what I know. I don't think that if people knew the information I knew, they would actually change. Most of my job is arguing with these businesses to change their marketing practices. They understand what I'm telling them, they just don't want to change. They think that they can just hire and then I can magically, bibbity boppity boop kind of fix their online credit score. That's not how it works. You need to pay your
No,
bills to change
no.
it, right? So I wasn't scared of losing business. I mean, information is power. And if I wanted to have interesting projects and, projects for me that were exciting, more technical things, I needed to make sure to get all the people who didn't know the basic things to learn the basic things. And many of these people are very thankful over the years. And years later, when their businesses grew, they came back and they're like, hey, I want to hire you to make sure that I don't have any problems. Can I just pay you a couple of hours a month and you just monitor, like a
Yes.
financial advisor? Just make sure I'm not losing money. And that was great. I liked it. And I think that if we're professionals and we just try to like keep the information to ourselves, at the end of the day, yeah, maybe it's kind of good from a business perspective, but I'm lucky enough to know that most of the companies in the world are sending emails. I don't think I'm going to be running out of customers anytime soon. So I think that was the biggest difference. I genuinely wanted to educate people and to teach them the things that they needed to do. One, it was a little bit selfish. I just didn't want to deal with telling people to send less emails and to stop being annoying. That's logical. I don't think you need to hire me for that. And also, it was great being able to hear about all these businesses and how they were using email. Businesses use email in such different ways. Like a lawyer doesn't do the same thing as Amazon. It's not the same thing or like the hydro, getting your bills from the government for electricity. These people are doing different things to optimize and ensure that they can market and engage with their customers. So I was learning a million, a million things from these people, how they were using email. And I got to teach them about how email actually works. It was great.
Amazing, amazing. So, where do you believe your entrepreneurial spirit came from or comes from?
Oh, definitely from my mother. My mom is the businesswoman. I grew up in a house, wanting to open my business. I've opened a couple of businesses in my life. I've sold a couple of them. I like getting my hands dirty and doing things myself and learning things. And it's one of the reasons why I know I've learned so much about the laws when it comes to email. Not everybody needs to go get, you don't need to be certified with GDPR and Castle and Can Spam in order to do my job. But being able to understand how the laws work allowed me to understand what the spam filters want a little bit more. So having somebody in the house that was constantly, pushing me not to quit, not to stop, to figure out different ways to solve issues and problems definitely helped out. And then when I was old enough to be, mature, take things on my own, then I didn't stop to the point where my mom, I think, was a little bit worried that you need to stop working a little bit less. You're getting a little bit too excited, making your hobby into a job
Well,
is usually what people
it's
want.
yeah, but also I think when you're passionate about it, it doesn't feel like it's a job. You're just doing it because you
Exactly.
love it. So,
Exactly. But then it becomes a problem because when you finish work, you want to do more of your hobbies and you just continue working.
absolutely. So, the email space is a highly technical, as you mentioned, space. So, can you share with the audience more about this and why it's so highly specialized and complex? And who are your core customers and which regions are you predominantly focused on?
Course. So when it comes to email, there's a lot of different types of businesses out there. I love to work with two different categories. So the businesses themselves that are sending emails and working with the businesses that allow other senders to send their emails. So email marketing software providers as well, or the companies that are building them internally because they don't want to have to pay a large bill. I mean, it's cheaper to just build it inside. So those are the two companies that I'm helping out with. I have a lot of opinions when it comes to how people can market their customers, but my job is to ensure that when these people are pressing send, that their subscribers are getting emails in the inbox. At the moment, I moved to Europe in order to have a longer daily schedule so that I can take care of European customers and anybody in America as well. So Canada, US, and South America as well. So I start my morning very early and I finish more or less the evening, but evening enough. And
Yes.
the
Oh, that's
Americans don't wake
amazing.
up. It is fun. A lot of the things is, even when they're hiring me to fix problems, a lot of it is to educate people because the last thing we want is for me to fix something without letting anybody know, go and do the same mistake and then either hire me again. I like to help customers and then have them continue on their own. They don't need me there anymore. If they really understand how it works, they won't make the same mistakes again. And if they do come back, it's usually just to, make sure that everything's okay. And I just, take a look every now and then to everything's okay. That is always exciting when I wake up in the morning and none of the customers have any issues because they've all listened and learned and they have better strategies and make better decisions. And of course, it is very interesting to be able to help bigger senders, like the Amazons and things like that, where they have internal infrastructure that are using MTAs like Halon to build their own version of MailChimp internally. Those are very exciting because there's so many things that need to be put in place. MailChimp does a lot of the legwork for you. They measure statistics, they check the hard bounces, they can check spam complaints. When you're doing things on your own, you need to do all those connections. You need to be monitoring them and tracking them. There's a lot of logistics behind that. So it is very, very exciting to be working with these two types of businesses because one, people decide between HubSpot, CakeMail, and MailChimp. There's a reason why they're going with one or the other. When businesses are creating them internally themselves, they need to know what they're going to be doing in the future to build it correctly, right? If you need business needs automation and you press send, but there's no automation, that can be an issue in the long term. So I think it's very exciting. Every customer, even though my knowledge will be more or less the same, it evolves, but is the same on my end. For the customer side, it's always exciting because every business does things differently. So I need to make sure that I can give them the information they need that fits their business and what they're going to want to do with email.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously you've recently won some awards, so congratulations on that. So can you share
Yeah.
with us more about this, and has this opened other business opportunities for you?
Yes. The one thing that's really good with email is because we're not a lot of us out there, and I don't mean just livability, I mean all of us in email, we call ourselves email geeks. We all know each other. A lot of us have never met in person, but we know each other. We know about each other's kids, we know about each other's job problems, we know each other. So it made it very easy for me at the beginning to start, doing thought leadership and getting out there, doing all these webinars because people do the things and they gave me the platforms to do it. When I won the award, so it was at the marketing conference a year ago. So Email Console, the tool we created, won a Best Business Award. And the year before that, I had won one of the top 100 marketing and advertising leaders for the marketing summit in the US. What that allowed me to do, it gave me a platform outside of, this niche little world and whoever was listening to us. It opened the door to allow to speak to people who never even thought that my job existed, which is most of the time. People figure
Yes.
out they need me after they have a problem, and then oh, there's this crazy lady from Canada with a long name that does this. It allowed, it gave me a proper and a bigger platform than the one I had built on in order to tell the normal masses of people who don't know my job exists that they need to be looking at it a little bit differently. They need to be looking at certain things because MailChimp doesn't work for Google or Google doesn't work for MailChimp. They cannot tell you if Google likes you or not. The only person who can do that is you. You own the domain. You can go get that information. So it allowed people to realize, oh, I thought, I was doing okay and I wasn't. Thanks for letting me know. And then, word of mouth. And it's also very interesting and weird when I start talking about email, all the little niche things. So people got talking and I was dubbed the Oprah of email because I don't stop talking about email and I give my information freely. It was really, really great. We were very proud as a business as well to have won an award. It's niche, even just being
Yes,
nominated was great. So winning the award was amazing. We're very happy to accept it last year.
amazing. So, what are the three key pieces of advice you would give to other entrepreneurs and those looking to pursue a similar career?
Oh, go on Google or LinkedIn. Just look for the email geeks. So I'm on the deliverability side. I make sure people get the emails. There's people who specialize in legal stuff just that has to do with emails. There are designers out there that can create these templates that would blow your mind. There's so much niche in email that the thing that you need is just to follow and learn from others. There isn't
Yes,
school, but they don't teach this in school. The business school, marketing, university, anything. They don't teach any of this and things change so quickly actually, that you don't have a choice but to like follow like a surgeon who's gonna work at a hospital under somebody else. Same thing with email. Go follow
yes,
the right people. And there's marketing gurus, they're really good at emails, they're really good at the conversion, the content, and so on, but that doesn't mean that they understand how email actually works. So there's a lot of things that you unfortunately on Google, when you Google primo marketing, it's what pops up first because nobody knows we exist. So going on LinkedIn and finding out who the email geeks are, you're going to see that all those like weird tricks to get into the inbox, none of us are talking about them. Those things don't work. And if there was a trick and Google found out about it, they're going to learn how to figure out that you're using the trick, stop anybody who's using the trick. So the most important part is to go learn from other people. We're always constantly writing and giving podcasts and blog posts and interviews, and we're all very, very nice. I'm not the only nice one there. We're all very nice. If you send us a message and you want to learn more, you want some extra resources, we are more than happy to share the resources and where to go get the information because the more people who understand what we do, the easier it makes our jobs as well. You cannot
yes.
imagine the number of times people pay me just to not want to change what they're doing. I can prove to them, I can show them the information coming from the inboxes that there's a problem. And like, no, 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 no. I've been doing this for 15 years. It's always worked. Spam filters did not work the same way 15 years ago. Let's all be
No,
honest.
not
No,
even
come
six
on.
months ago, let alone,
Let it go,
5 years ago. So,
Exactly. It's crazy how exponential it is. These inboxes are getting so smart and they get billions of emails a year. There's no way that we're going to outsmart them. Like the tricks, right? Like people didn't want the unsubscribe link. So they were making the font white on a white background so people couldn't find it. All these things, the spam filters can see it. The inboxes have to show you the HTML of the email. They know you put the same color on the font and the background. They're smarter. Putting it
mm,
forward or RE in the subject line, they know there wasn't a reply to that email or that they never emailed the business. So they know it's not a real reply or a forward. They're going to block those. So it's important to make sure that people are getting the information from the right people. So find us. We're very vocal about it. We're always complaining about how people should know better. We're all constantly talking about it. So if you ask us and you don't, abuse our time and things like that, we will share the information with you. We're going to tell you where to go get the information. And a lot of us like to mentor other people. It's making it easier. The more people who have the same type of knowledge, the better it is for all of us.
Yes, absolutely. So that leads me to the final question. How would you like to be remembered, or what legacy would you like to leave?
That I did save the world one email at a time. I would
Well,
really
that's a
like
good way
it.
of doing it.
Oh, right. I think it would be great. I think if the biggest thing is if people understood, if I was able to really achieve what I want, which is giving the information, simplifying the things that people need to know to make better decisions, better understanding of how it works. And I don't mean they don't need to know everything I know, just the basic things, the common mistakes that people are doing because there's so many misconceptions out there. I would be very, very happy. And if I could wake up one day and not get annoyed about the emails I get in my inbox or other people didn't get annoyed, I'd be extremely happy. Either Google did their job and their spam filters and so on, or businesses did. And I would so rather the businesses made better decisions because at the end of the day, the worst part about bad deliverability is not that Google is blocking 20, 30, 40% of your emails, is that you don't know which 20, 30, 40% got blocked. You don't
Yes,
know who
which
got
is
the email,
the
who
issue.
didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, yeah, maybe it's like a lot of people, they gamble, right? It's like it's 20% of my list. That's fine. But is it 20% of the new people on your list? Is it people who are recurring buyers? Or are the people who would have converted? We have no idea because unfortunately, open rates and click rates have never been precise. Spam filters open and click emails if they don't trust you. So somebody might not have received the email, but in their MailChimp, HubSpot, or CakeMail account, it looks like I did open it. So that it
Yes.
becomes very, very bad. So I would love to make sure that people understood how it worked and just stop doing the silly mistakes. It's a lot simpler than it actually is.
Yeah, amazing. So thank you so much for your time today. If people would like to connect with you, what are the best platforms to do so?
The best place is on LinkedIn. I'm constantly there. I keep telling people they can contact me on LinkedIn. So I'm constantly there answering messages and connecting with people. If not, I have the easiest email address on the planet. It's my initial, so YT@emailconsole.com. Feel free to send me emails with questions or ask for information of where you can go learn things. I do like talking about email a lot. So if you get me started, I might not stop.
Well, thank you so much, Yanna, for your time today. And we'll definitely have you back in the future to see where you are in your entrepreneurial and email journey. And thanks so much for joining us.
Of course, I'd love that. Thank you so much for having me.